One of my favorite stories that I've heard recently is the story of the witch's tree. Now, I heard this story on a ghost walk in Louisville, but it's one of the coolest things that I've heard to date. Now, of course, because this is a ghost story, we have our typical historical sorted figure in the form of a DuPont. Yes, the same DuPonts from Delaware. They were very prevalent in Louisville, and this one also involved a maypole during a Mayfair celebration. Either way, there were some witches in this area of Louisville who had a very sacred tree, but when you have more money than sense, you decide that you can do whatever you want and there is no consequences. However, you cannot do that when you are messing with things beyond your control. And while money does have its own influence, so does magic in this sense. So, during this time, this Mayfair season, there was a group of witches who found out that the tree that they were so in love with was going to be turned into a maypole. Not wanting this to happen, they literally started threatening the people who were responsible for this ceremony and stated that if you cut down this tree and turn it into a maypole, you're going to have hell to pay. Now, the people that were warned about this, basically a DuPont and all his other rich, pompous friends, were like, fuck you guys, we're gonna do it anyways. And so they cut down the tree, turned it into a maple, and had the time of their lives. Now, the witches who warned them about doing this straight up told them there are consequences if you go ahead and cut this tree down. Of course, they didn't listen, but the witches had warned them that if they cut the tree down, 11 months later, there were going to be some problems. Now, 11 months came and went from the day of the party, and nothing happened. And the people of that area were like, well, nothing happened, so they continued to enjoy life as they did, except the witches were on a different timeline. So 11 months from their timeline, some shit started to happen. The people of Louisville experienced some random ass, freak ass weather incidents, and a lot of people lost their lives. The witches would eventually go back and replant the tree, and if you saw it today, you would know it is super weird looking. Anyways, if you've heard this story before, drop it in the comments. Let me know if you want a more detailed story. I will tag, if I can find her, the woman who told me the story in Louisville on my ghost tour. I think it's way cooler when she tells it, but I really thought it was interesting. Of course, it was right up my alley, so drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you've heard of it before, and I will see you guys in my next video.